to people who live in Poland, appreciate this country, appreciate the times we live in, because doomy and gloomy, I did say, my generation is very we have a nihilistic point of view. Appreciate the times we live in. At the moment, we live in peace. Life is prosperous. Many opportunities around us. Equal rights for men and women, for the most part. Good food, bad food. You can make the choice at the end of the day. And Poland's at one of the best points it's ever been, I think, probably in history. We're at a good time right now. And you need to just appreciate it. Because me, coming from the States and the UK, I prefer being in Poland right now and for the future. People often look at the UK and the US as places, if only I could go there and not be in this crappy country of Poland. Poland's great, and people need to realize it.
So would you say that moving to Poland has changed your life so far?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you can quote me on this. I think I said this in a speech recently, that it's been like the most impactful decision I've made, not only for my personal life, but for my professional life. And I mean that in a positive way, a positive impact.
Thank you, Poland.
Oh yeah, thank you, Poland. Big
Welcome
time.
to my country. It's my country.
Yeah.
So you came here, pandemic, and you're like wondering. So were you like study at the university at that time? Because you were like 20, yeah. So you were at the university, I guess.
So I went to uni in London for like a year, and then never finished. I ended up dropping out. To be honest, something about me, I've never been a big fan of the formal education route. Never was like a great student. I was always, my teachers always said about me, he's very bright, but he's not capitalizing on that potential. He gets easily distracted. He talks in class. He doesn't put in the effort. So my mind was always elsewhere, and I knew, this doesn't excite me, and I want to do what excites me. So I did go to uni for music business. I told you I wanted to be a rapper, so that kind of continued. But I dropped out because I just wasn't a big fan of the course. So at that time, I wasn't doing anything. I was just working at a restaurant in the UK. But when I moved to Poland, I did end up signing up to enrolling in a university. My parents said, if you want to live with us, then you got to study. So it's that Polish narrative coming back of, you need to have a master's degree to get somewhere in life. That's kind of like a cloud that followed me throughout my whole life. Whole family just, you need to study, you need to get qualifications, degrees. I never wanted to do it. It was never in my heart. But I did end up doing it. And I finished just to have it off my back. Just got, what do you call it? Bachelor's degree. That's it. I said, I'm not doing anymore. In management, something like that. But even after going through the path of studying, I can still confirm it's not for me. It's not for me.
It's funny, man. It kind of reminds me of my story, because I have similar parents, same idea, get the master, get this, get that. And I did, okay, fine, I'll do the bachelor. And when I finished it, I came to Poland. Mm-hmm. And I had this internship for 6 months. And I knew that, like, this program was installed in my mind. I have to go back, finish the master's, and then I can take or make some decisions. But then I'm like, I'm staying here, so I got to do something. So that's what it's going to be my next question. You're here, you studied, you finished your studies, and you're like, okay, I got to do something. Let's talk about this market gap you mentioned in the beginning. You said that, okay, I need to teach English. What was going on in your mind?
So at heart, I've always been a content creator, right?
Okay.
And I think my brand or my content has always been a reflection of whatever's going on in my life or my interests at the time. And that's a tip for personal branding.
Right.
I think the brand should be a reflection of you, and you shouldn't be a reflection of the brand, in a sense that you should come first. That's why the first word is personal brand. And so just naturally coming to Poland, people were interested in me because I was what you would call a native speaker. I had never heard of that term, maybe once, but it wasn't important in England. No one says he's a native speaker. No, we all just speak English, pretty much. I was in that kind of environment. But then you come to Poland and you're like a unicorn. You're so valuable because you can speak English and with a nice accent, and you know how to speak correctly. And that draws a lot of attention. And you've got this label, native speaker. So naturally, that was like something playing in my mind, and I was curious about that. And at one point, I must have just said, "All right, let me try and make some content around this. This could be a path to go towards, especially because I'm also kind of a teacher at heart. I love teaching, I do, and I don't think I'll be an English teacher forever, but I'll probably move on to teaching other things. I do like teaching and passing on information in a way that's very digestible for the other person. So I combine all these things, the content creation, which I love to do, the rising interest in English, that this could be some potential thing to explore, like I'm suddenly valuable just because I speak English. And I put all of that together. And actually, I was on a university campus when I recorded the first video. I said, let's walk around with a camera. I had my friend just get involved. I said, let's just ask Polish students to read out these English words and let's see if they can pronounce them. And we got lucky. The first video went quite viral. Yeah, viral on TikTok. And as you would say, the rest is history. Because from that point, I had the momentum to like, okay, this is who I can be now.
What year was that?
That was 2022, I believe.
22. Wow. So 2 years. So that was the first video.
Yeah.
On TikTok.
Exactly.
Guys, real quick before we continue the show, if you like what we're doing here, please subscribe and leave a like. It helps us tremendously, more than you know. The bigger we get, the bigger the guests we can invite. If you're watching on Spotify, Apple, or YouTube, please subscribe and leave a review. Again, thank you so much. Back to the episode. So here's a funny story for you. When I came to Poland, I learned English in Poland. It was easier for me. It was easier for me to be able to function in the society because I was learning Polish, and I just like my program because I had to build my business and I was doing like probably 3 or 4 hours a week, which was absolutely not enough to learn Polish. And I just said, you know what? I am actually going to start learning English. And to my, grand surprise, when I meet a Polish person and, instantly I ask, do you speak English? And I noticed in these early days, I'm talking about 2012, 2013, 14, like Polish people would like as shocked. And they would rather say, no, we don't, because they're like kind of, I don't know, shy or they're not confident enough.
Yeah.
And so my mission was, I found this trick. I always compliment their English. It was, especially with the girls, I'm not going to lie, so I would meet a girl and, in the club, it's loud and crazy. And I'm like, hi, or something. And then she would say something. And then I said, wow, you have a really nice pronunciation. Wow. And then that opens up the person. Because I knew if you start with, do you speak English? They will always
That's the wrong question.
Yeah, they will
wrong
always
question to start with almost.
No. So what is your, observation about Polish people speaking English and what that fear comes from? What is the source of that fear?
Gosh, it's a loaded question. It's a very good question. And it's one of the biggest gripes Polish people have with the English language. It's not the actual skills, it's like the mindset around it. And it's like a big, scary monster under the bed almost for many people, English, Just stay away from it.
I know.
Let's not use it. Let's not talk about it. Right. I think it comes from schooling and perhaps just growing up and parenting in general. Like a mixture of those two things. School judges you. School gives you a grade, and if you don't live up to a certain standard, then you fail. They literally put that failure label on people. And also, for a long time, students were being taught by people who probably don't even know the language themselves that well. So the English teachers in Poland for a long time, now it's getting better, but for a long time, they don't even know the language themselves. So how can they teach someone else? And so I think there's always just a pressure to be perfect and better in Polish, in Poland in general. That's kind of Polish culture, You always need to be better. It's not good enough. I think I get that kind of vibe from it. And I think putting that with English, I don't know, people are just insecure, you know. The skill's not there. And that comes from the, let's say, poor teaching or lack of resources. So always when the skill's not there, you're going to be a little insecure, because confidence comes from competence. So if you're not good enough, then you're going to be insecure. And we're a prideful nation. So putting that lack of skill, you're not as good enough as you should be, with how good you should be in English, because the market dictates it. You have to be good in English to get a job. Right. You have to be good at English to speak on holiday. So it's like, it's important, but we know we're not good enough. So we're shy, and there's a stigma. My teacher said I suck, and I got all these failed exams, and my parents always, I think it's just stress and bad memories from childhood, comments from teachers that just compound over a long period of time. And then, you know, you don't even know why you feel like this about the language, why you're so scared, but you are. And I think it's early memories, bad experiences that have kind of taught you, I can't trust this like relationship between me and the language. This doesn't work.
Right.
Something like that. Yeah.